I feel like I have a lot of conversations with people about this specific subject. There comes a point for a lot of people where, whether it be outside influence, day-to-day work, just the pressure that we put on ourselves, where photography doesn't feel fun anymore. Whether it's because of comparison, whether it's because of this feeling like I have to produce, this pressure from I have to create these amazing things so I can be this amazing person, have these amazing exhibits and get these amazing accolades, or however you pronounce it. For some people, it's just an overload of work. That would be me. And for a lot of other people, it's just frustration from not being able to create and put what they see in their mind onto, whether it's film or a digital sensor, to get the end result that they wanted. A lot of times, whether it's the people you deal with in photography or just photography itself, photography can suck. And it's very unfortunate, but it isn't the end-all be-all situation for any photographer and for the genre in particular. Photography is one of those things that is an art form that can be one of the most gratifying things ever, and also one of the most frustrating and completely demoralizing things, period. That is one of the reasons why this is such a pull to so many people, because when you get it, you get it. For those of you that golf, and whether or not you're good, whether or not you're horrible, you will hate golf with all your heart until you get one really, really good swing in, you hit the ball, it goes where it needs to go, and it feels right. And you know what I'm talking about. When you hit a golf ball correctly, it feels right. And you tell yourself, I'm going to come back. You buy the gear, you buy the shirts, you buy blah, 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 blah. You get hooked. That is literally photography. Photography is different from a lot of different type of art forms because the gratification right now, because of digital, can be instantaneous. I am someone who has learned multiple musical instruments and learned to play them well enough to where I don't screw up a band during a set. And the gratification from learning an instrument is different than the gratification from learning photography. Whether it's film, whether it's digital, completely huge divide. The gratification you develop from learning a musical instrument, learning how to develop your own voice whenever it comes to vocals, is different because it is a slow burn. And you hear and you hear and you hear your insufficiency while you're learning. Now, things will get easier, you will soon progress, and that is the thing that pulls you in, is that slow little bit of actually getting there. And you start to see the progress, but that's the reason why so many people don't finish piano lessons, don't finish vocal lessons, don't play their instrument after their 9th grade band membership. Photography, on the other hand, and no shade against photography, I love it, sometimes it's more instantaneous. You have all taken a photo on your phone that you feel is fantastic. You can get a point and shoot for film, a little SLR, all these things, and you can get one photo out of 36, out of 72, out of 118, and you can say, damn it, I'm good at this and I want to do it again. Just that one. Again, just like with golf, you can just hit the ball right one time and it's enough to suck you in to want to do it and try to capture that feeling all over again. And that huge buildup sometimes leads to these dramatic letdowns. And I'm not saying the dramatic letdowns are bad. I'm not saying they're frequent. I'm not saying they're constant. I'm not saying they have to happen. But that plays a part in it. There are so many things that can give you these instantaneous feelings of, wow, I got it, and these new goals to achieve, that sometimes when you run out of your new goals, you just start to spiral down the tank. And again, I'm not saying that's 1,000% bad, and I'm not saying that everyone has to go through it and this is just the way it is. I'm just speaking very candidly to some of the things that bring that out. This isn't a video about how to get over burnout. Reggie Ballesteros has a fantastic video about that. I recommend that you go see it. But for this video, this is just discussing what burnout is. Sometimes we don't want to take photos anymore. Sometimes we want to quit photography. You could be like me. I sold all my photographic equipment in about 2018, and I did not expect to pick back up a camera. I eventually did, and now I do some extracurricular things that are super duper fun, whether it's sports photography, documentary, traveling, all these things, photojournalism assignments. They're great, but at times, they get annoying as shit. Recently with this burnout, I've just been walking around with a Nikon Coolpix A, a couple film cameras, sometimes my GFX, and just walking around just shooting little snapshots. I mean, street photography is something I've gotten back in to heavily because of it, but also just the mundane, not cool things. I don't care what the settings are. I don't care how bad the grain is. I'm just going out to shoot. Did I miss focus, hit focus? Who gives a shit? Right now, I'm realizing that I'm kind of just not happy with anything that I'm making, and even though I'm in these amazing places like Santa Fe, New Mexico, going to see all these museums, these beautiful views, I mean, these amazing, amazing things, sometimes you just carry a camera around and you just don't feel it. Even when the scenery around you is the most beautiful in the world, sometimes it is like that. I got a fantastic gig taking photos at Archangel Tattoo here in San Antonio. And a buddy of mine, Anthony, he has been tattooing for 29, I think going on 30 years in the exact same location. He bought the tattoo shop when he was 18, fixed it up himself, and started tattooing out of that place. And the conversations with him, getting to hang around and everything, that was great. That's the people side that I absolutely love about photography. And the images, they turned out really good. I really liked the images. They're some of my favorite ones from the year. But in that moment taking photos, I wasn't too sure of them because, again, the burnout, that little brain rot you get, when you get in that rut and you just think that everything's not going good. But, the lighting was key. We did some cool stuff. And yeah, I wish I would have taken more and done more. But again, that's the burnout speaking. Nothing's ever going to be good enough. But recognizing that he liked the images and the images had a huge, huge, appreciation from someone on the outside. But more than anything, I loved them myself. That's kind of enough. Sometimes people are like me and they get burnt out by the amount of travel, the amount of responsibility, the amount of dealing with people in order to deliver these goods, dealing with clients, dealing with editors. All of these things can just cause you to have mental breakdown after mental breakdown, and not like a complete, like I'm crying, but little snaps, little straws that break the camel's back, if you so will. You probably so won't. And yeah, it gets frustrating. But it's not photography that I don't like. It's just the things that come with it. The relationships that I'm not super keen on, but I have to keep, and the things I have to put up with in order to get paid for my work and paid for my time. And for some of us, though, who aren't even in the business side, we still hit these bouts of burnout, and it's not because of the pressure from all the outside things and of failure means I'm failing others. It's from the feeling of failure means I'm failing myself. For a lot of people, the issue with burnout isn't from all the external factors, it's completely up here. The feeling that you have to constantly go out to shoot, the feeling that you have to constantly work these networking relationships, that you constantly have to be seen. And again, I'm not saying any of this is negative. It is human nature. If humans weren't meant to have this desire to be liked and be appreciated, we wouldn't be communicable beings, and we wouldn't, gravitate towards relationship and community whatsoever. Don't think that wanting to be shown gratitude and being recognized means you're doing things for the wrong reason. That's complete and total bullshit. I am a huge proponent of tooting your own horn because there are so many people that are haters. They won't do it for you. If you're good at photography or good at what you do, or you like your images, tell people I love my images, or I think I'm really good at photography. I do, and when people argue with me, it's easy to not bullshit and have to give them the time of day, because I can just fuck with you now, because guess what? I know I'm good. I don't need your opinion to solidify it. But a lot of times with that comes the pressure of I have to create fantastic work. Then we walk out in the streets, we'll spend an hour, 2 hours taking photos with our brand newest, funnest lens and whatnot, and we hate everything. We don't want to edit anything. Nothing came out right. It was the lighting, it was the focal length, it was the pace. I missed this shot, I missed that shot, and we just completely disregard everything we took for that day. And then it lasts for 2 days, 3 days, a week, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, 6 months, sometimes even up to a year. It could absolutely be longer. The burnout comes from the expectation that we have to be able to create something that looks amazing because that's what we've presented. The burnout comes from the burden of being excellent at what you do and having to continue to supply that feeling that you have, and also that expectation that you feel that others may have of you. And that's a really tough spot to be in because you hate your work, you hate the way it looks, and I'm not saying anyone's wrong for this. I'm being real, I've had it too. I've hated my work, I've hated the way it looks, I push stuff to the side, and then I come back 3 months later and I look at a negative, or I look at a digital image and I say, this thing is amazing. I start tweaking the colors of, maybe it's a black and white stock, and I start editing and seeing if I can lift the shadow here and there, and it turns into an image that I absolutely not only love, but case in point, the one behind me, I've hung up. And that's just the funny thing about burnout. You don't know when you're going to get out of it. There is no set way to destroy and get through burnout. You just kind of have to wing it and hope you get there. But the great thing is that even during burnout, is if you can have in your mind the understanding that I'm going to hate everything now. I'm not going to be motivated. I'm going to be shooting. I'm going to feel like I don't have what it takes. I'm going to be feeling like my scenery, my surroundings, and my communities aren't, good enough to document. There's not enough flair. There's not enough this, that, and the other. It's just plain boring images. But the things you're taking that you don't like today, you're going to look back tomorrow eventually and say, damn, these were actually fantastic. These are actually images that, man, I was really, as a kid say, creating a meal with this one. And I think that's something to look forward to. I think that's something that's beautiful. I would encourage every single person that even with your work right now that you have, and let's say you're in a good spot, look at your work from a couple months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever it is, and start seeing those images that you didn't flag as a pick. Start looking at those images that weren't a 5-star, that didn't get edited, and just see something with them. So with all that being said, thank you guys for listening and understanding where I'm coming from. Shout out to the Pocket 3. Take it light, but take it. Have a good one.